Hey guys, thanks for joining. Okay, we're going to get started in a couple of minutes. I'm going to be highlighting the CPT book. Thanks for joining, guys. All right, so if you guys have any questions about medical coding or, the CPC exam, feel free to post in the comments. All right, I'll be stopping, on and off throughout the live so I can answer your guys' questions. Thanks for joining, guys. All right, so we're gonna get started. I have the 2025 book. All right, I'm on page 179. Okay, so what I do is I just highlight the first couple of words of each main code. Okay, a main code is a code that's not indented. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. This first couple of words. Okay. Any code that's indented, okay, like this code here, 26205 is indented. Okay, I don't highlight anything for that code. Okay, after I highlight the first couple of words of each main code, I go back and I link the codes that are indented with the code above it. So 26113 is indented. So I just link it like that with the code above it. Okay, same thing for 26117 and 26118. Okay, and the reason why I do that is so it's easier to see which codes go together. Okay, so over here, 26230 is a main code, and then there's two codes below it that are indented, so I just link them together like that. Okay, now this is just the way that I like to highlight the book. If you find a way that's easier for you, then you should definitely do that. Okay, the way that I do this is just a recommendation, okay? All right, so after I do that, then I go back and circle anything that is in parentheses. Okay, what's in parentheses gives more directions. Okay, sometimes it tells you, what can be coded together, what cannot be coded together. Sometimes it gives directions about modifiers. Okay, so I just like to circle it just so it's, again, so it's easier to see so you don't miss it. Okay, and that's basically it. Okay, again, this was page 179. Okay, I'm just going to stop for a second now to see if you guys have any questions. If you have any questions about the CPC exam or about medical coding, you can post in the comments. Can I remember for the CPC exam, you have 4 hours to answer 100 multiple choice questions. Okay, you will use your ICD-10 CM book, your CPT book, and your HCPCS book for the exam. Okay, does anyone have any questions they want to ask about, the CPC exam or medical coding? Now is the time to post because I'm looking at the comments now. I can't always see the comments when I'm highlighting the book. Now you could have your book highlighted like this for the CPC exam. You can have your book tabbed like this. Okay, anything you could do to help you save time. Okay, I see a question, is the CCA good for hospital coding? Okay, the CCA is an AHIMA certification, and it is, but the thing is, usually for AHIMA you need the CCS. The CCA is more of a beginner certification. All right, Sarah says, when sending a claim to insurance, does the primary code matter in terms of denials? Yes, you'll have to have the correct code first. You know, if it's in there somewhere, like say if you coded it second or third, you know, you really need to get the primary code correct. So I would say yes, it definitely does matter. Okay, Stacy says, can I get my CCS without taking the CCA? Okay, that's an AHIMA question, so I would check out their website because my certifications are with AAPC. Okay, so I don't really know much about AHIMA certifications. Okay, another question, a comment says, I just started my class, but they said it takes 10 months to get undergraduate certification. Okay, that just depends on what program you're in. Okay, if you're in some kind of degreed program, like I don't know what you signed up for. Okay, a certification is not the same as a degree. Okay, so someone's asking about highlighting. Okay, I will show you highlighting again in a few minutes. Where can you buy the tabs? They are in my TikTok shop. Okay, another question. What made me get the CPC instead of others? Okay, the CPC is the main certification from AAPC. Okay, the AAPC certifications are focused mostly on outpatient. Like they do have an inpatient certification, but overall it's on the outpatient side. Okay, so that is, you know, what I wanted to specialize in when I first started out. I wanted to work on the outpatient side. But if you're not sure, you know, definitely read up on, you know, AAPC and what they offer. And you could also check out AHIMA. All right, before we get back to highlighting, does anyone else have any questions? Okay, do I have exam practice for medical billing and coding? I used to have practice exams, but I don't anymore. So if you're looking for practice, you know, CPC tests, I would say, you know, go to the AAPC and get them through AAPC. All right, so I'm going to get back to highlighting the book. I will stop again for questions in a few minutes. All right, I am on page 180. Okay, so what I do is I just highlight the first couple of words of each main code. Okay, now the way that I do this, it doesn't really matter what the words actually are. You know, like I don't highlight things different colors or anything like that. I'm just highlighting the first couple of words of each code that's not indented. Okay, so I'm on page 180, which is introduction or removal. There's one code, and then repair, revision, and reconstruction. Okay, that's the category that I'm in here. Okay, after I highlight the first couple of words, I just go back and link the codes that are indented with the code above it so it's easier to see. Okay, so 26442 is indented, and I highlighted it, or I'm sorry, I linked it with the code above it so it's easier to read the full code description. Okay, now remember, when you have an indented code, you have to go to the code above it to read the whole description. You got to read to the semicolon. Okay, now I always recommend to my students to highlight the book like this while they are still taking the coding course, because if you wait to the end, it could, you know, take a lot of time, so it'll be kind of overwhelming. Okay, so now I just go back and circle what's in parentheses. Okay, remember the parentheses give you more directions, tell you what can and can't be coded together. Okay, another question I see, why do I highlight just a few words? Is there a reason? It's really just the way that I like to do it. There's no specific reason other than that. Like for me, I just feel like I could see the codes better this way. But again, you know, this is just a recommendation. You know, you don't have to do it this way if you don't like this way or you don't want to do it this way. Okay, are you allowed to do this to your book when you take the CCS exam? Okay, again, that's an AHEMA question. I'm not sure about AHEMA. You'd have to check out their website. Okay, everything I talk about, you know, in my videos and my lives are, you know, for AAPC and the CPC certification. Okay, thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for following me. Are there a lot of guideline questions on the exam? Okay, there are some guideline questions, and sometimes the answers, like, you'll have to know the guidelines to get the answers. So what I mean is there may be choices where you have the correct codes, but they're in the wrong order. And to know what the answer is, you'll have to know your guidelines. All right. There is a breakdown on the AAPC website that says exactly how many questions are for each chapter of CPT and how many guideline questions there are. So you can check that out to get, you know, a more detailed breakdown about the exam. Thanks for joining, guys. Okay, now I am on page 181. Okay, again, highlighting the first couple of words of each code that's not indented. All right, so there's a lot of codes on this page here. I'm in the musculoskeletal system, which I think is the biggest section of the CPT book. All right, so after I do that, then again, just go back and link the codes that are indented with the code above it, just so it's easier to read the full code description and so you know which codes go together. Okay, I think highlighting your book like this helps you learn the codes. It also helps you find things quicker when you're taking the CPC exam. And anything you can do to help you, you know, finish the CPC exam on time, you know, is helpful. Anything that you could do. And I think this is something that is helpful. So this is why I do recommend that, you know, you take the time to do this, even though it can be a little bit tedious. Okay. After that, again, just go back and circle what's in parentheses. Okay, and that's it for this page. Again, this was page 181. All right, now I'm on page 182. Again, thanks for joining, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to post in the comments. I'll answer any of your questions about medical coding or the CPC exam in general. All right, so just highlighting first couple of words of each main code. A main code is one that is not indented. Okay, I see a comment. Your classmate did this for her. Wait, my classmate did this to her books and they did not let her sit down for the exam. Okay, that sounds crazy to me. I don't know. I mean, it says right on the AAPC website that you're allowed to highlight your books. You know, I don't know. That sounds strange to me. If she wasn't allowed to take the exam and she was at an AAPC testing center, I would actually call somebody at AAPC and talk to them about that. About your classmate's proctor. Okay, because you are allowed to do this. Okay, I'm an instructor and I teach the AAPC curriculum, and I know what you're allowed to do and not do. So that sounds very unfortunate that happened to her. I would definitely put in a complaint to AAPC about that if I was your classmate there. Now, one thing you can't have in your books is you can't have practice questions written down with answers. So I know that that's not allowed. And you're also not allowed to have loose pages. Do I have a YouTube? Yes. Yep. I do have a YouTube, Midnight Medical Coding. Queen says, I was told that they're not letting us use books for the exam anymore. Okay, so they are making it optional that you can use an ebook for the exam, but you're still allowed to use printed books. Now, the thing is, if you decide to use an ebook, or, if your class uses an ebook and, your coding books are ebooks, when you go to take the CPC exam, you can't use your own ebook. So if you had notes in there or anything, you would no longer have them. So I think that is a real disadvantage to students. So I still recommend to, my students to use the printed books for the exam. So you'll have a choice when you sign up for the CPC exam whether you want to use, your printed book or an ebook. So it's not that they're not letting you use the regular books, but they did make a change, and that was a couple of months ago. All right, so now again, just going back and linking the codes that are indented with the code above it. Am I using the 2025 books? Yes, this is the 2025 CPT book. Okay, and then I go back and circle what is in parentheses. Okay, and that's this page. Again, this is page 182. Okay, if you're someone out there who's looking to take a coding course, my next course will start in May. And you can get more information about that on my website. Okay, and that's it for this page. Thanks for joining, guys. Okay, again, if you have any questions, please post in the comments. Okay, now I'm on page 183. Okay, highlighting the first couple of words of each code that is not indented, so a main code. Okay, these are all different fracture codes. Okay, I see a comment. You have one more class left to take and you get your medical billing and coding degree. That's awesome. Congrats. Okay, so question, you just joined and I was talking about I was just talking about the books. I was saying that for the CPC exam, you have the choice now whether or not you want to use a printed book like this, or you could use an ebook. You'll get the option when you sign up to take the exam. And I was just saying that if you use an ebook, it will be one that's issued to you from AAPC like at the exam, so it won't be your own ebook, so it won't have any notes or any highlights or anything like that in it, even if you were using the ebook for your class. So I still recommend to my students to use the regular printed books for the exam, so you can have your highlights and your notes in it. But again, it's up to you, whatever you're more comfortable with, and you have the choice between an ebook and a printed book. Okay, did the tabs I'm using come with the book? No, I make and sell these. These are on my TikTok shop. Okay, it does come with tabs. I honestly don't really like them, and that is why I started making the tabs like years ago. I can show you what the tabs look like. I think they're still in my book. Okay, so these are the tabs that the book comes with if you want to use these. I don't like these. I think this is confusing, but that's why I make and sell these. Okay, so there's a comment. They said they prefer us to use the tabs to section and mark everything because it's removable. I mean, I don't know about the tabs that the CPT book comes with. Okay, my tabs that I make, if you try to peel these off, you'll probably will rip your book. So, I don't know. Okay, now again, I just go back and I link the codes that are indented with the highlighted code above it, just to make it easier to see the full code description. Okay, now code 26863 has a plus sign in front of it. Okay, remember that plus sign means that it's an add-on code. Okay, an add-on code could never be coded by itself. Okay, it has to be coded with another code. All right, so just linking the codes together that are indented with the code above it. And then I go back and circle what's in parentheses. Can I remember for the CPC exam, you don't have to memorize anything, but you do need to know where codes are in the book and how to navigate the books quickly so you don't run out of time. Okay, a lot of times some people, unfortunately don't pass the exam because they ran out of time. You only have a little over 2 minutes per question, like 2 minutes and maybe 30 seconds per question. Okay, I see a comment. I finished the course. I'm prepping for the exam. Not sure which organization to choose. Okay, that would be, definitely do your research. Research about the different certifications. And ultimately, and see what you want to do. I admit I'm a little biased. I always recommend the CPC from AAPC. I do recommend though that whatever certification you sit for is either from AAPC or AHEMA. Okay, because those are the only two organizations that employers accept certifications from. Now, I do see someone mentioning the CBCS. Okay, that's a certification, I believe, from AMBA. Now, maybe in time that will be more accepted, hopefully maybe someday, but as of right now, certifications should be from either AAPC or AHEMA. Yeah, I see a comment. You ran out of time. Yeah, a lot of people do run out of time, unfortunately. Does anyone else have any questions about the CPC exam or medical coding? Okay, thanks for joining, guys. Okay, I have about 5 more minutes, so this will be the last page that I do today. But I do post the recordings of all my lives over on my YouTube channel. Is it a 70 to pass the CPC exam? Yes, you need a 70% or higher. Is the CPC coding only? There are some questions on there that are, terminology. There are some compliance questions. But if you go on the AAPC website, you can see a breakdown of, exactly how they break down the 100 questions. Okay, I see a comment. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. You're welcome. Thanks for joining, guys. Okay, so now I'm on page 184. Again, just highlighting the first couple of words of each main code. Now, like I was saying earlier, if you have another way that you want to highlight your book that you like better, then, definitely do that. If you want to, circle things or underline or, use different color highlighters, whatever, that's perfectly fine. Okay, so I just highlighted the first couple of words. Okay, now there are some codes in red on this page. 27059 is red, 27043 and 27045. Okay, that means that the code is out of order. Okay, so if you're looking down this page here, 2705, really it should be here, but it's not. It says code is out of numerical sequence, C27041 to 27052. Okay, so that is where this code would be. So in this case, it's still on the same page here, 27045. And if a code has this, hashtag sign in front of it, okay, that's another clue. That means that code is out of order. All right. So I just highlighted my first couple of words. And then I'm going back and linking the codes together that go together, the codes that are indented with the code above it, so it's easier to read the full code description. Okay, then I go back and circle what's in parentheses. Okay, this here in parentheses talks about modifier 50. Okay, that is the bilateral modifier. Okay. All right, and that was page 184. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions about the CPC exam or medical coding? Okay, I see a comment. My instructor said the CCS is more for a management role after CPC since it's more advanced. Okay, again, I'm not really sure about AHIMA, the CCS. Okay, that very well might be. I'm honestly not sure. All I know about AHIMA is it tends to focus more on the inpatient side. All right, guys, does anyone else have any more questions? Because this is it for tonight now. I'll be back again next Monday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Okay, another thing, if you guys have questions, you could always email me. My email is lindsay@midnightmedicalcoding.com. Okay, if you're looking to take a coding course, my next course starts in May. Okay, I actually have 2 classes that I'm teaching right now, but my May class is open for enrollment. Okay, again, the tabs could be found in my TikTok shop. All right, guys. Again, thanks for joining me here tonight. I will be back next Monday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If you think of any questions between now and then, definitely feel free to reach out to me through email. My email is lindsay@midnightmedicalcoding.com, and you could also find that in my bio. My email is listed there. All right, guys, have a good rest of the night. Again, thanks for joining. Good night, guys.